Opportunity. First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sport, the Honorable Ministers of State for Education, the Chairperson and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sport, members of the Uganda National Examinations Board present, the Executive Director, Uganda National Examinations Board, the senior members of staff of the ministry and that of UNEB, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister, the Uganda National Examinations Board presents to you the results of the 2024 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examinations for release, in accordance with Section 4.1b and 5.1 of the UNEB Act, Cap 259. The examination was successfully conducted between the 11th November and the 6th December 2024. This is the third and final examination the board conducts as per its mandate. With this release, the board will have fully accounted to you, Mama, as the Honorable Minister for Education and Sports, and to the nation for the board's function and resources allocated to it. With the examination also, the board has assessed for certification a total of 1,294,731 candidates for the three examinations. Mama, as I noted during the release of the two Uganda Certificate of Education examinations, the year 2024 was a difficult year, a year in which our resilience was tested to its limits. But as you know, a good pot is that which withstands the heat of the kiln and comes out sound. With the release of the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education, we are like that pot. We have successfully emerged sound from administering 4 examinations within the same period, for which we thank God. The board is happy to report that there has been a near exponential increase in candidature from 110,566 in 2023 to nearly 142,000, as will be seen in the release statement. The number of candidates who did not report to take examinations has proportionately reduced, a trend we have noticed now for 3 years running. The upward trend in the numbers of candidates offering STEM subjects has continued, although the numbers are still well below those offering the humanities subjects. Without downplaying in any way the important contributions of the humanities subjects, we need the sciences to spur our technological progress. Deliberate efforts must therefore be made to increase the numbers of students offering mathematics and sciences to create the pool from which tertiary institutions can select students for the various science programs. One of the ways, Mama, is to continue to improve on the past levels. which is being implemented by improving adequacy of science teaching and learning materials in many of our schools. While overall results have indicated that percentage passes at the different levels have dropped, it should be noted, however, that there was a very large increase in candidature of over 30,000. Such large increases have a tendency of impacting the statistics. With what is evident, however, is that we have more numbers qualifying for placement in post-UACE institutions. The issue to address our minds to is whether the system will be able to absorb them. The female candidates have maintained the trend of performing better than their male counterparts in terms of percentages at all levels and have shown a lower failure rate. However, the majority have offered humanities, where at the subject levels, they have also done better than the boys. Mama, the board continues to note that Lozira Upper Prison is not only a place for incarceration, but a true correctional center. As will be reported in the release statement, all candidates who sat UACE from the prison obtained UACE certificate with at least a principal pass level. This is testament to efforts they have made to become better citizens who will lead more productive lives when they are eventually released back into society. Honorable Minister, on another positive note, the 2024 UACE examination had the least number of cases of examination malpractice compared to the primary living examination and the UCE examinations. As such, very few results will be withheld. The affected candidates will be accorded hearings as provided by law. Mama, the board completed hearings of the withheld cases of PLE. For the cases where there was insufficient evidence, the results were released, while the proven cases were cancelled in accordance with the provisions of Section 38(1) of the UNEB Act, Cap 259. The board will publish the list of these cases to inform the public and avoid the practice of head teachers giving fake results even when they know their schools have no results. The board has urged the chief administrative officers in those districts where the schools with council results are located to ensure that appropriate disciplinary actions are taken on the head teachers and invigilators who were found culpable. As the board, we appeal to the parents and schools that the affected children be assisted to repeat the examinations in 2025, but not to drop out altogether. Honorable Minister, allow me to use this opportunity to acknowledge the concerns raised by some stakeholders about the grading of UCE under the competency-based curriculum. We have taken cognizance of the confusion created by Result 1, which was unfortunately misinterpreted as Grade 1. We also note that the Ministry of Education and Sports has been put under pressure to put numerical values to the grades A to E. The board recognizes that these concerns are understandable and occur with any change of such a magnitude as the new curriculum. The board has planned a series of engagements with critical stakeholders to explain the grading system. The board will not put numerical values to these grades as we hear has been agitated for, because that is not the intention of the new curriculum. However, those who use these results may put these numerical values just like it has been done with Uace results by universities and other users. It should be noted that those values of A for 6 for A and 5 for B, etc., were never created by UNEB in the first place. The numerical values were a creation by the post-secondary institutions to assign a point system for their admission criteria. Honorable Minister, the board is grateful to you for your leadership, which has consistently given clear guidance and necessary support to the board. This has enabled the board to deliver on its mandate. I now would like to thank my colleagues on the board for their cooperation in providing the necessary policy guidance through the examination cycle, particularly this year when important decisions had to be made regarding the grading and the project assessment reporting for the new curriculum. In a special way, Mama, I would like to thank the Executive Director, Mr. Dan Odongo, and the staff of the Secretariat for their hard work in ensuring that the 4 examinations for the 2024 have been successfully concluded. Honorable Minister, these people do an amazing amount of work, a lot of which is not even known to the public. I congratulate the candidates who have performed well and wish them well in their future progress. For those who feel a little disappointed with their results, I encourage seizing the many other opportunities to progress that are out there. Mama, now I invite the Executive Director.
Mama, when the chair of the board thanked me and my staff, I expected a round of applause from the audience. Thank you. And Mama, we have dropped everything and we are reading this document. Mama, Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, Mother of the Nation, the Honorable Minister of State for Sports, the Chair and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, Permanent Secretary, Education Service Commission, the Chair, Uganda National Examinations Board, members of the Uganda National Examinations Board present, senior members of staff from the Ministry of Education and Sports and from the Uganda National Examinations Board, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Mama, we present to you the results of the 2024 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examination, which was successfully conducted between the 11th November and 6th December 2024 under the theme, Embracing Security and Holistic Assessment of Learners in a Dynamic Environment. Mama, allow me to report on the registration of the candidates. Total candidature, a total of 141,996 candidates registered for this examination, compared to 110,566 candidates in 2023, an increase of 31,430 candidates, which is 28.4%. Mama, this is a very significant increase in candidature compared to previous years. Of these candidates that registered, 61,957, or 43.6%, were females, and 80,039, or 56.4%, were males. And of the increased candidature, the males accounted for 53.1%, or 16,695 of those candidates. Mama, it is possible that as a result of the change in the admission criteria for primary school teachers, those candidates that would have gone for grade 3 teacher training after UCE chose to pursue the Uace pathway. This probably partly explains for the near exponential increase, as the chair had said. The centers for the Uace examination also increased by 154, that is 7.3%, from 2,101 in 2023 to 2,255 in 2024. The candidates who appeared for this examination were 140,888 compared to 109,486 in 2023. This is also an increase of 31,402 candidates, representing 28.7%. Of these who appeared for the examination, 61,598, or 43.7%, were females, and 79,290, or 56.3%, were males. At this level, Mama, the number of female candidates has consistently been much lower than the males compared to what you may have seen at PLE and UACE. However, the number of female candidates completing the cycle and sitting for the examination has been rising. If we look at the last 3 years, in 2022, the number was 40,713. Mama, this number rose by 15.1% to 46,860 in 2023. And in 2024, this examination, the number went up to 61,598. That is 31.5% increase. Mama, it should also be noted that there are other post-UCE vocational programs which attract significant numbers of the females, for example, in the health sector. The number of candidates registered under the UPOLET program was 35,652, that is 25.1% of the total candidature, compared to 24,679, or 22.8% in 2023. We also see an increase. Male candidates who are registered under this program were 22,500, or 15.8% of total candidature, while the females were 13,152, or 9.3% of total candidature. Mama, it is not clear why a large number of candidates at this level are not taking advantage of the universal education program that the government is offering. Table 1 gives the statistics of the number of candidates who registered and those that sat for the last 5 years, and the numbers indicated the steady increase, and also the drop in a steady decline in the rate of absenteeism. That table indicates that 1,108 candidates, or 0.8%, did not show up for this examination, compared to 1,080, or 0.9, in 2023. As I have said, there has been a steady decline in the rate of absenteeism. Most of the learners who have enrolled for UACE are staying on to complete the level. Although, Mama, this is less than 50% of candidates who sat UCE 2 years ago, we know that there are other pathways, including the vocational, that hopefully the other learners have taken. Mama, traditionally, we also report on the registration of special interest groups, and in our case, the special interest groups are our special needs candidates and then the inmates in our being taken care of by the prison service. So for the special needs candidates, we registered a total of 437 candidates, of whom 249 were males and 188 were females, compared to 355 in 2023. And in Table 2, Mama, I present a summary of the special needs candidates by category and gender, and the special considerations that the board has made for each of the categories. So, Mama, the first column is the category: the blind, the low vision, the deaf, those with severe physical impairments, then the dyslexics, and there are others, the others category. And then the next column is the consideration that the board is doing for each of the categories. For example, the blind are provided with Braille, the deaf are provided with sign language interpreters during the course of the examination. Mama, the next columns show the numbers of males and females under each of the categories, and then the total number. And we compare that to 2023 in the same table. For the prison inmates, Mama, the board registered 49 candidates from the Uganda government upper prison, Luzira. 46 of these were males and 3 were females. 48 of them took the examination, and as my chair has said, all of them qualified for the UACE certificate, with one who was absent. Mama, during the PLE and UCE, we also reported the candidature from Mbarara prisons, but this time around they have not registered any candidate at UACE as yet. Mama, allow me now to report on the performance of the 2024 UACE examination, starting with general performance. The performance of the 2024 candidates is compared to that of 2023 in Table 3, and we are showing this in terms of the numbers of candidates who are passing at the different principal levels. So when you see Table 3, Mama, we have the pass levels, that is those who are obtaining 3 principal passes, that is the maximum number of principal passes you can get, and those that are passing with the 2 principal passes, then 1 principal pass, and at least 1 subsidiary pass obtained in a principal level subject, and those who unfortunately did not pass at any of those levels, and we are saying they failed. The numbers of candidates that have obtained the principal passes at those levels are shown. For example, our candidates who have passed with at least with all the three principal passes are indicated as 54,338, giving a percentage of 38.6. When we look at 2023, that number was 52,630, but proportionally, that represented 48.1%. And we look down the column, we see the different percentages and the cumulative percentages as we go down the table. The information in that table indicates that a very high percentage of the candidates, that is 98.8%, qualified for the award of the UACE. And this is just as we had in 2023. Mama, under the current regulations, a candidate requires a subsidiary pass level in one principal level subject to qualify. Although proportionally, in terms of percentage at the different levels, there is an overall drop in pass levels, the actual numbers show more candidates have passed at all levels. What I mean is when you look at the cumulative percentage column, you have 38.6% for this year, 2024, compared to 48.1% of last year. Then at two principal level passes and above, we have 65.5% compared to 73.8%. But when we look at the actual numbers, the numbers of 2024 are higher than those of 2023. University admissions to degree courses have, up to date, been considering two principal level passes as a minimum requirement. And Mama, if this consideration is maintained, 92,273 rather a number of 92,273 or 65.5% will qualify to be admitted, compared to 80,816, that is 73.8% in 2023. This is consistent with the fact that there was a significant increase in entries for the examination in 2024. An extra 11,457 university places must be available, therefore, to absorb this increase. In cases where one principal and two subsidiary pass levels are considered, Mama, for admission to other tertiary institutions, then we have 121,506, or 86.2% of our candidates who will qualify for admission. Mama, I also compare male and female performance in table 4. And we also see, similarly, the pass levels, 3 Ps, 2 Ps, 1 P, the number of candidates, and the percentage. On the left, we have the females. On the right, we have the males. And we can see at the 3 principal pass level, we have a percentage of 43.7 for females versus 34.6. At 2P, we have a percentage cumulatively of 71.2% versus 61.1%. And at 1P, we have 89.2% versus 84%. So as the chair said in his remarks, at all the levels, as we look at the table down, the pass levels of the females are higher. Just as we have observed over the years, female candidates, although fewer in number, as we have already seen, than their male counterparts, have performed proportionally better than their male counterparts. The percentage passes at the upper levels of 3 principals and 2 principals are higher, while the percentage passes at the lower levels and the failure rate among females are lower than that of the males. Mama, then I compare performance in large entry subjects. The performance of candidates in large entry subjects, including the general paper, which is compulsory, is a subsidiary level subject, but it is compulsory. Then subsidiary mathematics and subsidiary ICT. These are also subsidiary level subjects, but they are more or less compulsory in the sense that a candidate must offer either subsidiary mathematics or subsidiary ICT. We compare this in Table 5. And again, we are also comparing 2024 and 2023. The subjects which we regard as large entries, not all the subjects are here, Mama. We are looking at the number of candidates registered for those. So we have history, economics, entrepreneurship, education, and down to the subsidiary subjects at the bottom, with general paper appearing at the top. We indicate the number of candidates who are passing at principal pass level A. Then we also indicate the percentage that are obtaining principal pass level A to E. That is cumulatively all those that are getting at least principal pass. And we compare those to 2023. So if we take history, for instance, 7.5% of all the candidates got A, and then 91.9% of the candidates passed with a principal pass, E and above. And then if you take those that also passed with a subsidiary level pass, we have a pass rate of 98.7. And this compares to a total pass rate of 98.9 the previous year. In economics, 1.9% of the candidates passed with an A, 60.6% obtained at least a principal pass E and above. The overall pass level is 87.3. This compares to 82.3% in 2023. So the table presents a mixed bag. There are subjects where performance have dropped, and then there are those where the percentage pass levels have gone up. So table 5 shows that the principal level passes A to E. We see improvements in economics, literature and English, physics, and biology. Mama, as reported last year, the number of candidates registering and appearing for mathematics and sciences, which the chair has called the STEM subjects, are gradually increasing, as we have shown in Table 6. Mathematics has the largest increase. However, overall, the numbers have remained well below half of the total candidature. The low pass rates in sciences at UCE level probably explains the low numbers transitioning to Uace level for those subjects. Mama, Table 6 shows the entries for mathematics and sciences, and we have given them for the last 5 years. We can see that in mathematics, in 2019, we had 31,729, and now we have almost twice that number, 58,495. Similarly, physics, the number has doubled. Chemistry has almost also doubled. And similarly, biology, the numbers have also gone up. So we expect these numbers to continue creeping upwards when more facilities are made available to enable more candidates or more students to register for sciences. Mama, under 3.4, I compare performance of females and males in Table 7. We are using exactly the same subjects that we had. And then we are also comparing now those that passed with a principal level A and the percentage that is obtaining at least E and above. So when we look at history, for females, at least 7.9% got A. This compares to 7.0 for the males. And overall, those that got principal passes, for females, we have 93.3 against 90.2 for the males. Economics, at A, they are at par, 1.9%, but at A to E, the females are at 65.5%, and the males are 57.3. As we go down the column, Mama, you will notice that the A to E column for females, the percentages are better than those of the males, particularly in the humanities, as the chairperson said in his remark. But the reverse is true when we look at the science subjects, except at physics, where we have 58.2% of the females getting at least a principal pass E compared to 57.0. So in that subject, although the males are much better at A, that is 4.3% versus 7.4, overall, the females have done better in that subject. So proportionally, female candidates performed better than their male counterparts at the principal level pass A to E in all the humanities subjects, physics, and the general paper. And Mama, we have been observing this trend over the years. Female entries for the sciences and mathematics have remained lower than that of the males, consistent with the fact that overall, female entry is lower than that of the males. The numbers are, however, also rising, as we can see in Table 8 below. So we can also see over the last 5 years, in 2019, we had only 8,942 females that sat for mathematics. Now, the number is more than twice, over 100% increase. Physics, the numbers are still low, but again, we see an increase of over 100%. And this is replicated also in chemistry and biology. So the numbers are increasing, although, as I have said, Mama, the numbers are still low. I now report performance of special interest groups, starting with special needs candidates, and this is in Table 9. We have again reproduced the categories, the blind, the low vision, the deaf going horizontally, and then we have indicated those passing with the 3 Ps, disaggregated by gender at 2 Ps, 1 P, and subsidiary passes. And we have given the total numbers as well. We see that the highest level passing is for the others, the second last column on the right, where you have 104 candidates who are registered under the category of others. Now, Mama, these others are these other conditions such as asthma, sickle cell, anemia, epilepsy, and such other conditions that have an impact on the way the candidates perform. So these are not given any particular consideration except that they are allowed 45 more minutes for each of the papers that they write. Most of the candidates at the 3 principal passes, or 52%, are in this category. For the prisons inmates, we have them in table 10. As I have already said, Mama, these sat from the Uganda Upper Prison, Luzira, and they were at 3 principal level pass, 25 of them passed. At 2P, we have 13, and 1 principal level, we have 10, and 1 was absent. And Mama, as we said, all of them qualified for the UACE certificate with at least 1 principal pass. There was only 1 absent, but the majority of them were males, that is 93.8%. Ma'am, allow me to make some brief comments on the work of the candidates. Performance of candidates has shown significant improvements in economics, literature in English, physics, and biology. But we have also noted significant drops in levels of performance in entrepreneurship education, Christian religious education, geography, mathematics, agriculture, and chemistry. Mama, grades for the science subjects have continued to be much lower than for the humanities, which are usually better done. And Mama, we can look back at the tables that I have already presented to confirm this. In the humanities, the problems continue to be poor interpretation of questions due to misunderstanding the key concepts that determine the expected responses by the candidates. In history, for example, inadequate critical thinking skills limited the candidates' ability to analyze historical views. The National Constitution is a major reference material in one of the papers in the subject of history. And the candidates who offered this paper exhibited very limited exposure to the Constitution. This probably goes for the majority for very many citizens of this country as well. In economics, candidates showed inability to relate their responses to real-life situations by using relevant examples, especially about their own country, Uganda. Poor mathematical skills also affected their responses in areas where they needed these skills. Poor syllabus coverage also appeared to be a case in many centers, as evidenced by poor responses to questions from several topics, for example, the national income, market structures, taxation, the monetary policy, and so on. These topics tend to come towards somewhere in senior 6, and so those that have not covered the syllabus properly will probably miss out on these. One of the requirements in entrepreneurship education is that the students should gain practical skills through internship in business firms. However, Mama, information available to us indicates that business firms are unwilling to offer placement for these learners. In some cases, the learners are even being asked to pay to get placement. This lack of practical exposure impacts their performance in the examination. The Holy Bible and the Holy Quran are key reference materials in religious education. However, our examiners have reported low levels of knowledge and inability to apply the teachings of the holy books to everyday life situations. This we have also seen earlier, where the cry from the markers indicate that people cannot effectively quote from the Bible or the Quran or use the knowledge that they have in everyday situations. Geography is one of the subjects where performance dropped, and examiners reported poor skills in using the various statistical methods available to explain geographical phenomena. Also, they showed poor application of fieldwork skills to explain daily geographical issues, and candidates are also not relating the theory to the environment. The paper on the geography of Uganda, surprisingly, has always been poorly done. The problem of inadequate map interpretation skills has also persisted because, Mama, we have reported this before. UNEB examines a number of local languages at this level. Candidates offering these languages showed a lack of knowledge of the relevant cultural practices, the meanings of proverbs, and the use of proverbs in sentences. They have also shown lack of appropriate vocabulary to be able to write meaningful translations. That is, if they have to translate a passage from English language, for example, to their local languages, or if they have to write a composition in the local language. In the sciences, the general problem of inadequate practical exposure continues to impact performance. Many candidates could not describe experimental procedures or fail to interpret experimental setups from diagrams that are given in the questions, especially this happened in physics. Some candidates even gave results from experiments without showing how they were obtained. There is also the challenge of relating science concepts to real-life situations. Detailed reports on the work of candidates in each of these will be prepared and sent to schools. Mama, the underlying problem that we have seen in all the subject areas is that as we transition to having competency-based assessment and competency-based teaching, there is the problem of candidates relating the knowledge that they have to real-life situations. Anything that requires candidates to do this, we have observed that performance has not been good. Examination malpractice. Mama, as the chair has said, the cases have been low. Cases were reported from only 38 centers out of the 2,255 centers, and these few will be dealt with in accordance with the regulations. Our gratitude. Honorable Minister, Mama, we give thanks and praise to God for his mercies and faithfulness. As the chair has said, the year 2024 was not easy because we had to deliver 4 examinations, including the first one based on the new curriculum for the lower secondary level. There were many steps we were taking for the first time. That we are here today, Mama, presenting to you the last of the 4 examinations is real testament of God's grace and kindness to us. We could not do this on our own. We are very grateful to you, Mama, for your solid support in all those areas which were critical for the successful completion of our tasks. I am grateful to the chairperson and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports for appropriating the necessary funds. I am also grateful to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for releasing these funds to us. I wish to sincerely thank the chairperson and members of the board for their guidance at policy and oversight level. The permanent secretary and the senior staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, its agencies and other institutions greatly assisted the board in various ways before and during the conduct of the examination. The area supervisors, heads of examination centers, scouts, invigilators, all these worked very well with the board, resulting in a very smooth examination process. And Mama, we sincerely thank them. I'm equally grateful, and I want to extend my appreciation to the Uganda Police, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, and other security agencies that assisted the board to conduct a smooth examination. I am very grateful to the examiners who reported to mark the scripts. Mama, unlike with some examiners at UCE, examiners at this level carried out their work very professionally and patriotically, and we did not have any issues of people wanting to go on strike or putting down their pens. I thank the institutions that allowed the board to use their premises as marking centers. I also thank the parents and guardians for supporting the candidates through the UACE stage in their educational journey. And I am indebted to the members of the press who actively highlighted and publicized UNEB activities throughout the examination period. I thank all the candidates for taking the examination in the first place. And to those that have performed well, I join my chair to say congratulations. I acknowledge with profound gratitude the dedication to duty exhibited by staff at the UNEB Secretariat. Mama, their commitment and sacrifice, which is never visible to the public, enables the board to deliver on its mandate. Today, we shall collectively give glory to God that once again, He has enabled us to deliver on our mandate. Mama, on collection of results, the board will upload the examinations results on school portals as soon as you declare them released, and each school can therefore download their results as soon as they are officially released. Hard copies will be available, but not immediately, and we shall inform the centers. Candidates and candidates only may access the results by using the short messaging service on MTN and Airtel mobile networks, and the results will be posted instantly if they follow the correct instructions that we have given. That is going to the message menu, typing UACE, leaving a space, and putting the full index number, and then sending to 6600. Many cases, the candidates make mistakes, and then they are unable to obtain their results the way they should. Mama, submission of queries
picture that is going to make the headlines tomorrow. Sure. We can begin reading the front pages of New Vision and Monitor already. Yeah.
Mama, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson and members of the Committee of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, the Permanent Secretary, Education Service Commission, members of the Uganda National Examination Board present here, the Executive Director and members of staff of UNEB present here, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Mama, the country awaits for your message. Allow me at this juncture to invite you.
And thank you, UNEB. My colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of State, now represented by Honorable Peter Ogwang, the Chairperson and members of Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson of the Education Service Commission, represented by the Permanent Secretary, the Chairperson UNEB and your Executive Director, and the whole family of UNEB. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. We congregate here this afternoon, yet again, in recognition of the milestone attained by the 140,080 learners who sat for the Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education examinations from the 11th of November 2024, the 6th December 2024. As you all may know, today's release of results marks the third and last set of end-of-cycle results that UNEB diligently administers annually. On behalf of the government, I want to appreciate UNEB for this work that they do, more so in 2024, when we had to administer the Pioneer UCE examinations under the revised lower secondary curriculum, as well as winding up on the end-of-cycle examinations for UCE under the old curriculum, and then POE also. In my mother tongue, there is a saying that in Runyankore it says, Otamkweitse atmuikarre tujende, meaning that the spectator in a wrestling match always tells the wrestler that please put down this man or woman, your opponent, quickly so that we can go and attend to other issues. Well, UNEB is like that wrestler who is always told by spectators to do the job quickly so that we can go and attend to other things. But it is not as easy and simple as it appears from the outside. We appreciate UNEB for the diligent efforts put in to ensure that each year candidates and their parents receive the end-of-cycle results in time, all the time. Yes, and they deserve a real clap, people. Mr. Odong had to actually ask for it. What's up? Clap for UNEB, people. Therefore, the work done in seeing that nearly 1.3 million learners who sat their PLE, UCE, and now UACE examinations in the year 2024 have their results released on time for proper planning by their families and us as a government is always a milestone that we should not take for granted. As you heard from Mr. Odongo's statement, the end-of-cycle examinations across all levels, that is PLE, UCE, and UACE, combined for the year 2024, saw a 7.1% increase in total candidature. Whereas 2024 UACE examination results alone had a 28% increase in candidature. As UNEB often does for all of us, these end-of-cycle results provide a quick reflection of the health of the basic and secondary education system in our country. Therefore, it is important that the various levels of government, as well as the education system, and other stakeholders in the education sector, interest themselves whenever these end-of-cycle results are being released. When we allow ourselves to see the release of these results as another annual routine, we miss a salient message that is being communicated to us about not only the performance of our children, but the health of the education system too. For example, there is need to take interest in what has led to the significant increase of the 28% in UACE candidature for year 2024 compared with previous years. As I have often said, good things do not just happen. Good works always bring forth good fruit. It is only a matter of time. The fact that we may not be able to explain right away why we are seeing good results today does not mean that the good results just come about by a stroke of chance. Often, there is intentional work that has been done by government over the years in the background. However, such good works take time to bear fruit. And by the time the fruit comes, people have even forgotten what was done way back, therefore failing to associate what was done then with the good results they see now. So it is important that this nearly 30% increment in the 2024 UACE candidature is scientifically and logically explained to enable the government to know the good efforts that need to be made better, while at the same time doing away with investments that are of little to no value in secondary education. Relatedly, I have taken note of the observation that the learners amongst the 2024 UACE cohort who studied sciences and mathematics continue to increase year in, year out. This is a desirable trend, as you heard Mr. Dong say. That is good for a science-driven socio-economic transformation as a country. Evidence points to the fact that learners get interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education because, in quotes, it is often engaging and project-based, allowing them to tackle real-world problems, fostering critical thinking and developing skills valuable for future careers and innovations. Our children now know and are quite involved. So that's why we see this trend that is coming up and continuing. Nonetheless, we still recognize that there is still room for improvement in learner performance, in sciences and mathematics. Best practices in STEM education point us to the fact that the way sciences and mathematics are taught needs to change. This change starts with the teacher changing his or her attitude toward STEM and how it ought to be taught. In the recently released 2024 UCE examination results, you also saw how the performance in science subjects was generally good. For parents with children that have studied using the revised O-level curriculum, you hear their own testimonies of how they are enjoying the process of learning, especially the projects that the children are doing. This is exactly what learning should be, an enjoyable experience both for the learners themselves and even their parents, the parents that are involved in their learners' learning. As I mentioned earlier, good things do not just happen. There must be intentionality in effort. As a government, we are now making strategic investments in reviewing the secondary education curricula to be competence-based, project-based, and learner-centered for the learning process, not only to become meaningful, but enjoyable for both the learners and teachers. So, I call upon the teachers and parents to support your children as they navigate learning using the revised lower secondary curriculum and now the A-level curriculum that has been adapted to utilize similar teaching and learning methodologies as those of the O-level curriculum. The A-level curriculum has been aligned to the lower secondary curriculum by making it competence-based and learner-centered. In making it competence-based, the emphasis of learning is not only on acquisition of knowledge, but translating this knowledge into desirable skills, values, and attitudes. This alignment of the A-level curriculum is intended to make the methods of learning interactive while emphasizing problem-solving, critical thinking, creativity, and innovation as demonstrated in the way learners solve the challenges they encounter in their day-to-day life. It is therefore my hope that the learners who have progressed to Senior 5 will have a smooth encounter with the A-level curriculum in terms of the learning methodologies now used. Our hope is that the reconfiguration of the secondary education curricula at both O and A levels into competence-based and learner-centered shall be that small flywheel, that gives momentum to move this big mass called interest in learning uptake of STEM education. For us as a government, to sustain the milestones and successes that come with reconfiguring the O and A level curriculum into competence-based, project-based, and learner-centered, the higher education institutions must now, as a matter of necessity and urgency, review their respective curricula for initial teacher education and training. So that's the trend we are taking. I'm sure you understand that we are moving from here to also higher education at the university level. The mismatch where universities continue to graduate teachers who cannot utilize competence-based and learner-centered curricula is undesirable. Therefore, for this mismatch to be cured in the universities and higher education institutions, the academic staff who train the teachers must also realign their learning delivery methods to become competence-based and learner-centered. You have heard the executive director of UNEB say that the 2024 Uace examination revealed that learners struggled with relating the concepts they are learning in sciences with what happens in the students' everyday life. This problem was not only observed in the science subjects, but also the humanities, such as economics and entrepreneurship. These shortcomings that UNEB has ably pointed out are exactly what the government is attempting to cure by embarking on reforms in the teaching profession and curricula for secondary education curricula. In other words, curricular reforms that the Ministry of Education and Sports introduced at O level in 2020 have a direct effect on the curricula used in higher education to train students pursuing a career in the teaching profession in Uganda. As a ministry responsible for higher education, we are going to coordinate our efforts to ensure that we put in place the necessary policy environment to enable the training across higher education subsector become harmonized with curricular and teaching reforms introduced in basic and secondary education levels. Therefore, I call upon the higher education subsector to take keen interest in the process of reviewing the A-level curriculum over the course of the next 4 years as has been provided for by Cabinet. In addition, as a pioneer cohort of the revised O-level curriculum prepares to join higher education within the next 3 years, it is imperative that the institutions at this level will have made the necessary adjustments to accommodate learners who have gotten used to a different way of learning that is competence-based and learner-centered. I also want to reassure the country that the government has put in place blocks in the foundation for ensuring that there is adequate capacity to absorb learners willing to pursue higher education at university level. First and foremost, the government policy of liberalization of education service provision has seen 48 private universities, as you all know, established across the country by the private sector. Secondly, the government has been establishing a public university in each region around the country in a phased manner as resources become available. As of today, 10 public universities are already operational. Mountains of the Moon University in the Rwenzori region, Soroti University in Teso region, Busitema University in Bukedi region, Gulu University in Achori region, Lira University in Lango region, Muni University in West Nile, Kabare University in Kigezi region, Mbarara University of Science and Technology in Ankole region, Chambogo and Makerere universities in the Buganda region. A public university for Busoga region is in advanced stages of establishment. Recently, the stakeholders from Bunyoro also identified land in Ruhimba district where the campus for a public university in Bunyoro region will be located. And the government has allocated Uganda shillings 15 billion to commence construction this financial year for Bunyoro University. So, the current stock of 58 public and private universities in the country have the capacity to absorb the number of learners who wish to transition from A-level into higher education. On the other hand, we are cognizant of the fact that some learners may not be interested in pursuing the academic career path of higher education. The government has 15 technical colleges that can absorb persons interested in the TVET career path after Senior 6. From those interested in applying for government sponsorship for programs offered at all public universities and other tertiary institutions, including the technical colleges for the academic year, the application window was open from 4th November 2024 to 20th January 2025 by the Public Universities Admissions Board, PUJAB, for the 2025-26 academic year. Hopefully, you took advantage and applied. The TVET path also has a decentralized application modality that runs outside the PUJAB process. The date for decentralized application shall be communicated to the public by the Ministry of Education and Sports for the April-May window. Let me also take this opportunity to thank Makerere University as the host of the PUJAB Secretariat for taking the PUJAB application process online, starting with 2026 academic year applications. This is commendable. It is use of ICTs in delivering an enhanced learner experience while assessing education services in an efficient manner. Perhaps before I conclude my remarks today, please allow me to say something about the results of the recently released 2024 UCE examinations, especially for learners under the revised O-level curriculum. I know that the grading system is confusing, as you heard Mr. Odong say, to many, and the public continues to ask questions. As you have heard, UNEB is going to come up with awareness engagements to increase the public's understanding of how the grading system works under the revised lower secondary curriculum. I have also been informed by the NCDC that working together with UNEB, they are yet to finalize the development of an assessment framework to guide the assessment process for the aligned A-level curriculum. When this process is completed, the public shall be sensitized about that also. With that, I congratulate candidates of the 2024 Uace examinations upon the achievement. My plea to you is to keep yourselves safe and healthy so that you become all that your Creator, the Almighty God, put you here on earth to achieve. I thank the parents, the guardians, the teachers, and all the others who have supported the candidates through this cycle. As I communicated at the release of the 2024 UCE examination results, schools have the individual responsibility to always maintain confidentiality and privacy of the learners' results. Once again, I thank UNEB for a job well done. I thank all those who support UNEB in various ways to make the entire 2024 examination season a successful one. It is now my singular honor and pleasure to release the 2024 USCE examination results for public use, and I thank you. Thank you, and God bless you.